Getting into more of the front seven of NFL draft prospects for the 2023 NFL draft, edge rushers and linebackers on today's episode of Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of P&W is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of the NFL. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. All right, we did defensive tackles 2 days ago here on the pod. Matt Williamson's draft rankings for the 2023 NFL draft, getting into edge and linebackers today, Matt. And there might be some crossover with these positions, but a really strong group of, I think, actually both linebackers and edge rushers, but especially the edge guys. There's some guys at the top, and it's pretty deep throughout probably day two and maybe even into day three with some interesting prospects.
I think the edge class is loaded, and it just seems like there's more and more unbelievable athletes on the defensive front coming in year after year, particularly at edge, but also inside. And this year exemplifies that. There's a lot of length. There's a lot of bigger dudes that are 265, 270, 6'5". You know, there's also the smaller guys. There's power players. There's a lot of edges that could bump inside. There's some dudes that were hard to rank. Should he be a tackle? Should he be an edge? Even one of them on here, Nolan Smith, I kind of took a cheat code and called him an off-the-ball linebacker, even though he's more edge than off-the-ball linebacker. So let's dig in. But, I mean, there's 10 to 12 names that are all really enticing.
Yeah, it's tough with edge, and I like the term edge just because it incorporates sort of stand-up rushers and hand-on-the-ground rushers, but you having Nolan Smith in the linebackers category makes me feel more like this is – I mean, you're a Pittsburgh guy, right? So you're used to those odd fronts, and so that's
3-4 guys.
Telling what a linebacker is, what a defensive end is. Looking at the pure defensive ends here, the top guy, is it still Will Anderson? I know it was Will Anderson for you last time we checked it.
Yeah, he's outstanding. I think he's a noticeably better prospect than anyone else in this group. But I don't think he's Nick Bosa coming out or Myles Garrett. I mean, I've seen other edge players that I'm more impressed with coming out of school. And, you know, I'm not saying he put it in neutral his senior year, but they didn't have as much to play for at Bama as they usually do. And again, he was still phenomenal, but I felt like there were times where he kind of took it easy and, you know, realized that this is a business decision. I don't think he's quite as talented as those guys, though. I mean, I'd take Myles Garrett over him.
Yeah, I would actually say he's pretty close to Nick Bosa as a prospect for me. Okay. I love Will Anderson, and that was sort of the knock on Nick Bosa was that he's not Myles Garrett, you know, because he's not 6'5", 270 that runs a 4.5. But really, when you do a tale of the tape with Nick Bosa and Will Anderson, and you look at how advanced they were at a young age, their production and their height, weight, speed numbers, I think Will Anderson matches up really well with Nick Bosa.
Okay.
And in the non-Myles Garrett complete freak of nature category, because Nick Bosa got knocked a little bit in the draft process because he was only, 6'2". He's under 6'3", and, he's 260, but he wasn't 275, and he didn't run a 4.5 flat, and he wasn't quite freaky, but he was so good and explosive, but just didn't quite have the ridiculous Myles Garrett thing. And so people are like, maybe Josh Allen is better. Maybe Brian Burns is better. Maybe Quinnen Williams should be drafted in front of him. And this does remind me a little bit of the Bosa Quinnen Williams thing with Jalen Carter and Will Anderson in this draft class, because a lot of people thought Quinnen Williams was the better player. But I don't think any GM is going to sleep easier the night after Thursday, April 27th than the team that drafts Will Anderson. I think he's easy. I think he has technique. I think he's got bend. He has such great production, and his numbers, even though he's not 6'5", 270, his athletic testing numbers were great. They were really, really good. So I have no problem putting Will Anderson in that category of freaky guys, and maybe his production was a little bit better the year before in 2021 than 2022, but his production was still great. And you're like, you're knocking a guy for 10 sacks, and some of these other players we're talking about that might be competing with him couldn't even get there with their production. So give me Will Anderson all day. Love Will Anderson, top non-quarterback in this class. Don't overthink it, NFL GMs. Will Anderson is that dude.
And to your point, maybe Myles Garrett just kind of ruined things for everybody a little bit. You know what I mean?
Saying, oh, this wide receiver's not Calvin Johnson. It was like, well, where's the other Calvin Johnson ever been?
Yeah. I mean, like since Julius Peppers, has there been a guy that came in the league like Myles Garrett? So yeah, maybe he just ruined things for other folks.
So that being said, who is your number 2 edge? And is it the guy that's got a lot of helium right now that Lance Zierlein actually mocked number 2 overall to his Houston Texans?
Did he really? I didn't see that.
Draft. Did you see it? Oh, you got to check out the latest Lance Zierlein mock draft from this week. And people are flipping out because he's a Houston guy and does Houston radio as well. What he had going on with the Houston Texans was quite interesting. He had them passing on quarterback at number 2 and drafting your number 2 edge rusher, the 6'6", 270-pound Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech with the second.
Well, I'm definitely gonna check that out, and I know Lance pretty well, and you know his dad was a O-line coach for the Steelers and with the Browns when I was there, so they know they're wired in, and he's a Houston guy. And I've heard him say on different podcasts that if Bryce Young isn't there, don't be shocked if they don't go quarterback. So maybe that's the way he laid that out. And oh, by the way, you know, a Niner guy coming over, they're going to stress D lineman like crazy with traits. Wilson sure has traits. I mean, he's 6'6", 271 with pterodactyl arms. I think he's a better athlete, moldable piece of clay than he is football player right now. So that to me gives him a little bit of bust potential. But like, I wouldn't hesitate to take him at 5 or 6. I mean, I don't think I'm taking him at 2, but right. I do think that there's work to be done there, that it's a tremendous ball of clay.
That's exactly the way I feel about Tyree Wilson. Okay, there's some traits there. You would like a little bit more production. Will Anderson easily over him. But once you get past that point and you don't have a quarterback to draft, you don't have a Will Anderson to draft, well, Tyree Wilson's right there. And there's a lot of upside there in that arm length and does meet a lot of the criteria that is kind of freakish athletically that people are looking for in the NFL. But there's just some things missing from his resume that I would want to see at the college level that I didn't quite get to see with some domination that I did see with other players. So it puts him behind him for me, but I wouldn't fight anybody to put Tyree Wilson number 2.
Right. I mean, if Seattle grabs him at 5, I get it. You know, I mean, it's an easy one. You know,
I do want to say to Lance Zierlein's defense, if you think a mock draft looks crazy, wait till the real draft. You don't follow the draft because the real draft is always so much more bizarre than any mock draft that you think is unrealistic, because the NFL, each individual NFL war room is not in the media group think that everyone kind of gets into with all of these players. And the other part of it is last year in 2022, the Houston Texans had 2 first-round picks. And guess which analyst got both of those picks right?
No, did he? I mean, he's definitely dialed in with Houston.
Oh, yeah. If there's a team that you don't want to fight him on, it's probably Houston.
No doubt about it. And he writes every NFL.com player profile for the draft too. Like, Lance is a busy dude, and he's very good.
He does a great job too. I love Lance Zierlein's work. By the way, and so go check out the rest of his mock draft. There's a lot of surprises in it. That was surprise number 1. Second surprise by Houston was then they went and got a quarterback, trading up from number 12 to draft Will Levis, which really pissed off a lot of people that are around the Houston area and the Houston fans. So he was not popular locally in his Houston area for a couple of days there after that mock dropped.
Good stuff. I like the Stones though by Lance. Good stuff.
Love it. Fantastic. So Will Anderson 1, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, number 2 edge in this class. Who's your number 3?
Yeah, I don't feel super strong about 3 through 8. You know, I mean, all these guys I think are very scheme situational, depending what you're looking for. But the more and more I study Will McDonald from Iowa State, I just think that his play demeanor, his hustle, his bend, he's a little smaller than the other guys. He's just under 240 pounds, leaner waist. But boy, his tape is awesome.
He's a really good prospect, and it's sort of a pick your flavor after
It
the
is.
top couple of guys, and there might be a gap after one for me, and then a gap after two even, just because, do you want a bigger body guy? Do you want speed off the edge? What are you looking for, and where are you drafting is a big
Exactly.
question. And it's hard to really place where the rest of these edge rushers will go in this class after probably, one or two. And if Will Anderson doesn't go one, he's definitely going two in edge rushers. And then we'll see how the rest of these guys fall into place. So Will McDonald out of Iowa State, really nice prospect there, and really flashes with a lot of athleticism. Number 3 on your list. Number 4 on your list had a recent pro day that we've got to talk about next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel. NBA playoffs almost here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And man, the tournament was so fun to bet on. There are NFL draft props. You can find NFL futures, win totals up now at FanDuel, and new customers get a no sweat first bet at FanDuel, up to $1,000 back if you're in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, safe, secure, super easy to use. Love the app, love the website interface. It could not be simpler to find your bets, what you're looking for, make those bets, build your own bets, combine your bets for a better chance at a payout as well with the same game parlays that are fun, and of course those tasty draft props. Then bet on everything. I mean, NFL bets to be made, NBA bets to be made, Major League Baseball now going every day, all summer long, money line, point scores, 3 drained, home runs, wins, whatever you want to do, you can find it at FanDuel. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet, up to $1,000 in bonus bets back when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. We've got Will Anderson 1, Tyree Wilson 2, Will McDonald 3, and Myles Murphy out of Clemson 4, Matt. And I just want to go through your number 4 edge rusher here and take a look at what he did at the Clemson Pro Day, because we talked about Myles Garrett and some freakiness. Tyree Wilson has some freakiness. Myles Murphy still hasn't put it all together, but 6'5", 268, a 4.51 40-yard dash, 25 bench press reps. The agilities, and this is where you start to see it on tape. The agilities were good, but not great. 7.22. Ideally, you want 7 or even below 7, which is something that Nick Bosa was able to do with those 3 cones. Get around the corner. Will Anderson as well. Like that bend to dip and get around the corner, the change of direction. It was okay. 4.28 short shuttle's good, but just not quite great, even though his 4.51 at nearly 270 pounds was absolutely great. So a little bit straight line-ish there, and that's, I think, the worry with Myles Murphy, and it does show up on tape.
Yeah, and I like him a lot. I think you can line him up all over the line of scrimmage. We saw this with like Trayvon Walker last year, and I think there's some similarities there. These big ends that are versatile have a lot of value, loops and stunts, and put them over guards and that type of thing. Consistency's not great, though. Down to down, game to game, it was fine, not phenomenal. He might maybe get a little bit more of a fire lit under him.
Yeah, and there's a reason that a guy who's 6'5", 270 pounds that runs a 4.51 isn't being talked about as the top edge in the class and a top 5 lock of a pick.
Yeah, right. I mean, he has rare traits. There's no doubt.
Another player, and look, after I've said it, after 1 and 2, it's really hard to put these guys in order. And really even after 1 for me, because I think Will Anderson's on another level, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if Lucas Van Ness is the 2nd edge in this class, but he could be 5th. I mean, he could fall out of the first round. I have no idea what to think about the redshirt sophomore out of Iowa, 6'5", 270 pounds, powerful, put up really good testing numbers as well. The best speed to power sort of bull rusher in this class, I think, and you got to believe there's a lot more in the pro game to come for Lucas Van Ness if you're drafting him in the first half of the first round than he showed at Iowa, even though he did show a lot.
He did, and I could see him going in the top 10. You could see why people love him. He is a bully. I mean, he goes through people with power, and I think that's great. And some of the best Big Ten had a lot of linemen coming out this year, and he did really well against all those guys. I just don't know that you're going to go through the middle of the chest of, offensive tackles at the next level. I wish there was just more refinement to his game. I mean, he's a bull in a china shop, and that's a great place to start. He's a wrecker, but I think I need a curveball too,
Right. Yeah. You need that secondary offering because even if you could go through the chest of an offensive lineman once, they're going to know that that's your move and going to be important. If you don't have anything else, then life starts to get a little bit difficult. Although you would still be, stout at the point of attack. And, we talk a lot about edge rushers and their pass rush ability. You got to stop the run first to get to that 3rd and long to go get the quarterback.
Yeah, and there's a lot to work with there. I mean, that's the thing with all these guys. There's a lot of ability with this class.
Who are the honorable mentions? Who are the players that were tough to leave out of your top 5 edge rushers in the 2023 class, Matt?
There's a lot of them, to be very honest. I'll just kind of spin through them. BJ Ojulari from LSU, Felix Anuke Uzama. I've killed his name over and over. He's a Kansas State guy. Keon White, Georgia Tech. Derek Hall from Auburn. Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. All those guys to me are borderline first, almost guaranteed top 50 type picks. And then I have 2 guys I'm really psyched about that maybe are like round 3 or 4 guys, and that's Louisville's Yaya Diaby and Eastern Michigan Jose Ramirez. Both those guys are really impressive to me too, that you might get a little bit of a bargain this year.
Both Yaya Diaby and Jose Ramirez, I'm seeing a lot on teams' 30 visits. I just think they're getting another look and completing their assessment of those players. And you see that a lot where there's certain prospects that are really popular, maybe that didn't get invited to the combine, or you still need some medical, or you still haven't met with them yet because they flew a little bit under the radar throughout the draft process. And Jose Ramirez, and I think Yaya Diaby is also one of those.
Makes perfect sense. And Diaby blew up the combine, and big guy, and Ramirez tape's really good too.
That brings us to off-ball linebackers, and we teased it earlier with Nolan Smith not being part of your edge class and being an off-ball guy, and clearly that a lot of that has to do with size, I'm sure, Matt. But Will McDonald was on your list, and he's only 239 pounds, so not a huge difference. When you're talking about guys in the 230s, it's hard to picture them holding up at the point of attack with their hand on the ground.
So I have to come clean. Basically what happened is I cheated. We do these triple takes for Steeler.com where you feature 5 guys and we talk about others. We do a video. You can see them on Steelers.com. And I just think the edge class is much, much better than the linebacker class. So it got me an extra name to talk about in my top 5 if I put him off the ball. Frankly, I think he's more Hassan Reddick than he is off the ball linebacker, but everyone's looking for the Micah Parsons. Around here, you might remember the name Lawrence Timmons. The Steelers drafted Lawrence Timmons and called him an outside linebacker, which is an edge, a 3-4 guy. Right. And then the next pick, they took Woodley out of Michigan and then said Timmons is now an inside linebacker. So I think he can do all the above. I love Nolan Smith, and I think he is probably better coming forward off the edge, but I wanted to put him with the linebackers because I don't love the linebacker crew and I love the edge crew.
I'm a little bit worried with Nolan Smith that teams are going to double count his athleticism because you see it on tape and he's 6'2", 238. If he's going to play the edge, he better be athletic at 6'2", 238. And to your defense, Matt, Will McDonald, even though he's only a pound heavier, he's 6'4", so you can project a little bit more of the frame and getting a little bit bigger. It's hard to see Nolan Smith with his build being any bigger than 240 pounds throughout his career, which used to be kind of even small for him. For an inside linebacker, let alone an edge guy. But he actually defends the run pretty well for his size. So he is scrappy and he's, as athletic as all get out coming off the edge and will be probably one of the top 3 edge players in this class. I would put on the edge because that's where you put him. And I think teams screwed up the Arizona Cardinals at least screwed up putting Hassan Reddick as an off-ball backer instead of on the edge where he belonged. Absolutely. And Nolan Smith absolutely belongs on the edge because that's his skill set. But there's going to be teams that are like, nope, we don't do 6'2", 238 on the edge. We just don't do it.
No, it's going to be team specific, but I think he's a phenomenal prospect, but we'll see where he lands,
Drew
These
Sanders?
next 3 are all together. So the next 3 are in their bundle to me. It just depends what you're looking for. And I think they're the day 2 guys. And then I think this kind of drops off a cliff a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough with off-ball linebackers. Off-ball linebackers really do not have a high level of success getting drafted early. And I think for this class, it's going to save some teams because I don't know if there's a first round off ball backer that's out there, especially when you consider Nolan Smith's not an off ball guy either. He's an edge player, an outside linebacker. He could do some other things because he's athletic and do multiple things for you. But, number one is going to be his ability to come off the edge. But the rest of these guys, I like them, but I'm talking day 2 and into day 3 for some of these.
100%. And so Drew Sanders from Arkansas, Jack Campbell from Iowa, Trenton Simpson from Clemson. To me, they're tier 2, and there couldn't be any more different. I mean, Sanders was an edge at Bama and has not Nolan Smith level, but I mean, edge he can line up and beat tackles with pass rush moves. He's not just a blitzer. He's also 6'4", covers a lot of ground, really good player. Jack Campbell's huge. He's 6'5", almost 250, Mike backer, middle of your defense. Tested a lot better than I expected. Throwback type, though. First round pick all day long in 1985. And Trenton Simpson is who's the Brown JOK. He reminds me of that guy. He's a little he's long. He's a super athlete, almost safety turned linebacker, overhang player. Doesn't see things as well as Campbell and Sanders, but gets there faster than anybody. So just depends what you want out of those 3.
There's a lot of those types of players.
There are,
Matt. Let's talk about a few more of those. And number 5 on your list as well sort of fits that, along with number 4, Trenton Simpson. And then I've got a couple of names, and I think you have some honorable mention names as well as it pertains to off-ball linebackers in the 2023 NFL Draft. Do want to thank everybody once again for making Peacock and Williamson your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out the Draft Dudes, Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino, with the newest from Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, talking free agency, salary cap management, and of course the NFL Draft, how to build a successful franchise every Monday through Friday. Find all the Locked On podcasts, including Locked On NFL Scouting, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And by the way, make sure you're subscribed up to the Peacock and Williamson YouTube channel. Data tells us most people who are watching aren't even subscribed. So click that button, the thumbs up and all that. Appreciate it. Off-ball backers, according to Matt Williamson in the 2023 NFL Draft. Nolan Smith, we talked about him, kind of quasi-edge, or fully edge and can do some off-ball stuff. Then you got Drew Sanders, Arkansas, Jack Campbell out of Iowa, and Trent Simpson out of Clemson. In that order, who is the number 5 and really the number 4 off-ball backer in this class?
Yeah. To me, there's a big drop-off then. I do like Dayan Henley from Washington State. I think he's probably a 3rd-round pick. As you mentioned, there's a lot of these 220 to 230-pound true off-the-ball guys that can really run. I think he exemplifies that well. But I don't adore him. I'm going to have a lot fewer honorable mentions off the ball than at edge.
We're just seeing so much of that with the way the college game is going, and the NFL can only deal with what they're getting from the college game. So we're talking about edge rushers in the 230s, and we're talking about linebackers in the teens and the 220s, right? Mm-hmm. And Dayan Henley is that, but he's so active and flies around and really meets what teams are finding success now with linebackers who have to play, that 3-down role. There's no thumpers left in the NFL. At inside backer. You got to be able to run, got to be able to cover tight ends, got to be able to cover the slot, you got to be able to get out and catch those crossers coming across the field. And so much stress is put onto these guys. And then you got to be able to defend the run and chase down running backs in the run game as well. And a lot more athletic quarterbacks and spy those guys too. So, it's tough to play linebacker in the NFL right now. And teams are looking for speed, oversized, and Henley's super active and athletic linebacker at 6'1", 225 and definitely fits that bill. And, could be one of those guys you end up drafted mid-3rd round and turns out to be, a star starting linebacker in the league, which is where I'm trying to draft my linebackers. Definitely not in round 1.
I 100% agree. There's a lot of busts early on. A lot of mistakes are made for athletes over football players at linebacker. Mm-hmm. But there are some good ones, I think that are day 3-ish guys that are probably going to make their bones on special teams, maybe take a year. And that might be the path this year to get your backer. And I got 2 names there I like there as well.
Okay, what do you got?
Tulane's Dorian Williams doesn't seem to be getting a lot of buzz, but he's just under 230 pounds as well, runs extremely well, eats up a lot of space. He's 6'1", so he's not a shorter, stumpy guy either. Really high effort dude as well. I think if you get him in the 3rd or 4th round, he's your best special teamer from day one. Maybe next year he's your starting backer and lasts a long time. The other name I would definitely wanted to bring up, though, is Alabama's Henry Toto. A little bit leaner as well.
To'o.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I've heard it said correctly, and I've not said it correctly, of course. Super productive for Bama. I mean, not a freak, but, leaner guy. He's 50 career starts. I think he'll translate pretty quick.
Yeah. He's a plug and play guy, can come in and play, and he's athletic and not super big. And I've done some work on him and flies around as well. I'd put him right in that group with Dion Henley as sort of that 3rd round, maybe 3rd, 4th round type of a linebacker that could come in. And if he ends up starting for a decade, wouldn't be shocked, but it's not a slam dunk whether or not he's going to, be excel at the NFL level, but there is a lot to like.
No doubt.
I've got one more name for you who's
bring it on.
Way off the radar that I think people need to start paying attention to. And he's so under the radar for multiple reasons because he wasn't invited to the combine, went to a small school. Now he got dinged up in the draft process and is not, wasn't able to do a pro day workout, but he's on the list of a lot of 30 visits for teams because they're trying to get the medical. They're trying to get that workout with him and meet with him because they didn't get to at the combine. And nobody went out to Sacramento State. Stingers up. I'm going out west here locally with the Sacramento State Hornets safety / linebacker. This guy was like basically, do you remember what Brian Urlacher was at New Mexico?
Oh man, he returned kicks.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what this guy is. Marte Mapu out of Sacramento State, and he was at the Senior Bowl. So shout out to Jim Nagy for inviting him to the Senior Bowl. Was really good at the Senior Bowl. He's only going about he was listed at 217 pounds, so he's that safety / linebacker hybrid. I think he's a linebacker all day in the NFL. Can play special teams early in his career, but can cover guys and 6'2". So he could get a little bigger if you need him to be in the 220s, which I think teams will want him to be. He's a player I really like and definite sleeper for me at the off-ball linebacker position. Marte Mapu might go a little higher than people. And might shock some people where they go, "Who's that guy? I never heard of him." Well, now you have Marte Mapu.
I love it. I do know the name. The profile is a smaller run and hit, exciting type guy, sort of like this we've talked about with these last several. One other name I just want to throw out quickly because I think a lot of people are familiar with him. Penei Sewell's younger brother, Noah. I mean, he is. What's interesting about him is if he comes out 20 years ago, maybe he's a 1st round pick. And I feel like Bill Belichick's the only one in the league that's going to want this guy because he is not really good in coverage or playing in reverse. But he's like Dante Hightower coming downfield. I mean, he just crushes guards, really physical, kind of plays like his brother. And I was listening to a podcast, and I wish I remember which one it was, but PFF's Mike Renner suggested maybe he should move the edge and just come forward all the time. You love his play demeanor, but he's just not a modern-day linebacker.
That's not a bad idea either.
Yeah.
Especially with teams more willing, if you're playing positionless football on offense, then you kind of got to play some positionless football on defense. And, if teams don't know where you're coming from with your guys and who's coming when and who can cover and who can't, just make sure everyone can cover, everyone can get after the quarterback a little bit and probably help you out on that side of the ball. But yeah, 246 pounds at 6'1.5", definitely has some of that thumper size, old school, but worked out pretty well. 4.64 in the 40. Not bad. That's good speed for someone that's close to 250 pounds at off-ball backer these days.
He's just a bowling ball rolling downhill. I mean, he runs well in straight line. He just doesn't cover well or play in reverse. So maybe you just want to put him on the line of scrimmage and go get him. I mean, he'll be like the best kickoff coverage guy in the league.
There's Matt Williamson's top off-ball linebackers, edge guys, some hybrids in there as well. Let us know what you think at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL. If you have sleepers off the edge or at linebacker, we'd love to hear it, or in the YouTube comments. And make sure you're subscribed up to the new Peacock and Williamson YouTube channel. Matt and I back tomorrow right here, Peacock and Williamson.